Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Asanda.
Our pleasure. We're talking about World EV Month, but here in South Africa, the spotlight is also on the state of our rail infrastructure. From your perspective, how do these two conversations connect?
Well, from an infrastructure point of view, we currently have a fair amount of rail infrastructure. So there's actually two parts of it. There's the passenger rail segment and the freight rail. So we've seen underinvestment generally in both, let's say, sectors from a rail perspective. But there's definitely room for improvement in terms of getting passenger rail as one segment uh, more viable and more accepted by general passengers. From a freight perspective, there are predominantly freight lines running between major, let's say, industries and moving commodities generally to different parts of the country. From an opportunity perspective, there is a fair amount of opportunity for South Africa specifically to get these sectors more efficient and more adopting to or accommodating to different industries in South Africa.
What would those opportunities for South Africa be?
So generally, the opportunities for Statric would be from a, let's say, from an infrastructure point of view, uh, more investment we put into rail infrastructure in general, the better we are in terms of performing from a global perspective. Uh, One of the most important points would be accessibility and affordability. When we improve infrastructure from a passenger perspective, we make rail more accessible to general public. That means people will adopt it in terms of day-to-day movement of people. On the freight side, greater investments means we can lower costs in terms of moving goods, predominantly heavy and large machinery and commodities to our end customers, which is generally overseas.
What would some of the pressing challenges be for South Africa and that the country needs to tackle right now?
So, from a safety perspective, that's definitely one area of concern. On the passenger side, that's the one area. On the freight side is reliability of infrastructure, predominantly the coal and the iron ore lines. We need to put more effort and energy in terms of policy on the one hand and adoption of newer technologies to make systems more efficient and more reliable.
So, ABB, we understand, has worked on projects around the world. Are there examples where rail electrification or modernization has really made a difference that South Africa could draw from?
And from an ABB perspective, predominantly in Americas and Europe, Middle East, and Asia. So we've rolled out many projects and different types of projects, predominantly from a rail perspective, whether it be passenger rail or freight rail. We've developed different technologies from an ABB point of view, where we've got different solutions, either from a hardware point of view, from a software perspective, operations, maintenance. We've delivered many projects with different degrees of complexity to deliver different solutions to the different landscapes within each region around the world.
Typically, what type of time allocation is given to these types of projects? And can South Africa, if it decides to zoom into this and tackle this issue, achieve that resource wise?
But from a timing perspective, rail in general is fairly capital intensive. So um, from an infrastructure point of view, infrastructure projects take a fair amount of time. I mean, if Caltrain is a typical example, it takes a few years. Proper planning and investigations and engaging with different stakeholders is important to get us to deliver a project within shorter timeframes and within budget. So there are a lot of different aspects that need to be taken into account to deliver successful rail projects.
A lot of people think of electric cars and rail as separate issues, but increasingly they're being linked. So, how do EV charging and integrated transport systems fit together in building smarter, future ready cities?
From a general perspective, where we look at, let's say, economies, so generally cities and, let's say, rural cities and economies, we are moving more to a space where cities are becoming more electrified, there's more urbanization occurring. With this change in the behavior and the influx of people to major cities, we need to actually electrify our cities, make them more resilient, smart, and sustainable. From an EV perspective and a rail perspective, both these industries or sectors require energy, they require connectivity, devices and systems need to be more digitally enabled. So these two sectors are kind of seen to be different, but they actually rely on the same infrastructure support mechanisms to make them run efficiently and effectively. So they are basically relying on the same processes and systems that one would develop, whether they be for rail or for electric vehicle charging.
If we look at 5 or 10 years down the line, what do you think South Africans could expect in terms of cleaner and smarter transport? Are we even close to real change?
From a passenger vehicle perspective, we've seen that more and more people are making the change to adopt to electric vehicles. As we see more progress in terms of adopting the technology, we're going to find more investment and infrastructure built to make, let's say, the electrification of the processes and the systems that actually support electric vehicles more effective. So we're going to see a rapid adoption of technology, and as people adopt more technology, we're going to have a acceleration of technology adoption, making cities more smarter and more sustainable.
Veron, we're going to leave it there for today. Thanks again for making time to chat to us.
Thank you very much, Asanda.
Veron Maharaj is Product Marketing Specialist at ABB, sharing insights on how electrification and innovative transport solutions could shape the future of South Africa's rail sector and cities.
Africa's very own think tank. This is Channel Africa